this turn. Indicator left down the slope. What a shot. What a shot. Is it? Oh, would you believe that? Rory McIlroy. What a round of golf. It's one outside the Augusta course record. Than I anticipated. Oh man, what a shot! I'd say that's pretty good. Whoa!
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to PFD, the Putting for Dough show, chatting all things DFS. First of all, well done, fellas. Held the fort very well last week in my absence, but the king is back and in the win column.
Finally.
Yeah, we've all been doing it for ages, Nick.
I purposely missed last week's show, and I was just like, do you know what? I'm just going to watch them do the thing. I'm just going to make some notes, and I'm just going to ping a line up in, not even say a word on the chat about who I like. And lo and behold, it was over with on like partway through day 3. It was done. It was over. But yeah, I'm back. Good to be back. And I will just warn the listeners, if I shoot off at any point, I am on babysitting duties for the evening, so my capable co-hosts, I'm sure, will guide that should the worst happen. But how are we doing, fellas? How was this past week in DFS for you, American Express, and anything else golf that we played this past week?
I need to start playing my cash lineups in my GPP contests, I think, because they just seem to be nailing every week. So I ate the chalk John Rahm in my cash lineup, and I mean he was just amazing last week, absolutely amazing. He's on I've released our newsletter just about an hour before we come on, and the title of it is Rahm Page, because that is what he's on at the minute. He is on a Rahm page. He's just He's just on a mission to be world number one, isn't he? Like, he come out at the end of that tournament going off at the OWGR, their point system, saying that he should be number one in the world. I agree with him. I think he should be number one in the world at the minute. We haven't seen Rory this year, obviously. We're going to see him this week on the DP World Tour. But yeah, I mean, he was amazing, and I'm annoyed at myself for not playing him, just eating the chalk in my GPP lineup and going to Scheffler. Really, Scheffler done okay. He wasn't bad, but yeah, I'm a little bit annoyed with myself for going away from it. I won't be making that same mistake this week. Spoiler alert.
Mark, yourself?
Yeah. Well, first of all, one point of order, Nick. It's not called babysitting when it's your own child, and
that's a good point.
Yeah,
that is a good point.
Yeah,
and,
classic dad mistake.
Yeah, that is a fair point. What am I actually doing then? Parenting? Yeah, I guess you call it that.
You've been a great parent.
You better write the missus don't see this stream.
Yeah, no, I wiped my face in MMEs and then I chose the wrong line for my single entries. I'm still very disappointed Jack hasn't been playing his cash game in GPPs, because that seems a rookie error for someone so experienced as him. But there you go. Also, I was like both pleasantly surprised and disappointed that Xander lasted last week as well, because we deliberately faded him because we thought he wouldn't last. So yeah, that was both. I was pleased for him and also unhappy for me.
Then he went and got that albatross on the Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. So
just rub it in a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played fairly small in DFS. I bet more, I would say, last week, and came very, very close in both events. So I had Minwoo Lee in Dubai, and I had bet Taylor Montgomery in the PGA, who he was right in the mix and then fell off on, I think, the 17th.
Yeah, he
Where,
went for it, didn't he? And he
He
felt
got a bit
Yeah.
aggressive, didn't he?
Yeah.
which,
Yeah.
do you know what? I don't mind it. I don't mind it because
no.
I think at that point, I think he needed to be aggressive to catch Ram. I don't think he was going to catch him any other way. So I didn't mind that, but I kind of just wish I'd have just backed the each ways because they were both reasonable odds. I think Taylor Montgomery was the better odds of the two. Actually, Minwoo Lee was a little bit more favoured, but it's another good field, really. I know it's Dubai, and you know the prize money's elevated, but it's a good field again in the DP Tour this week, and some recognisable names in this event as well on the PGA. And this is it's a tough course. I'm not really going to speak about it because I know that is your forte, Jack. But we move on this week to the Farmers. It's Torrey Pines is absolutely massive. But tell the listeners about this course, Jack, and what we can expect to see this week.
Yeah, we'll do like you say. Well, it's two courses again. We're still on this course rotation season. We're in the middle of it now. I can't wait for it to be over. But we are at Torrey Pines. They will play the South course and they will play the North course here. Let's get the boring one out of the way first. So the North course is the easier of the two. This is a William P. Bell design, renovation by Tom Westcroft. I'm bad with names, so I'm just going to say that. It's par 72. It's 7,258 yards long. There's zero hazards on this golf course. It's that Kikuyu rough, grass everywhere, rough as well. And the greens on this one are bent grass, and they measure about 6,000 square feet on average. So they're a little bit bigger on the North course compared to what you're going to see on the South. The North course, just simply put, is the easier of the two. It's where you're going to make your score, and you want to be coming off of there 5 or 6 under minimum this week to put yourself in really, really good position. If you're playing Showdown, stack that golf course. Just look at the tee times and stack that golf course, both Thursday and Friday. They will only play it once, thank God. So let's move on to the more well-known one, which is the South course. Again, it's a William P. Bell design. It was renovated by Reece Jones in 2001 and 2019. It's a par 72. It's 7,765 yards long. So like Nick said, it's a very, very long golf course, this one. You want to be doing your damage on this one, on the par 5s. This is really the only place you're going to score on this golf course. You need to be getting off the par 3s and the par 4s with your pars. If you can get a birdie, I mean, the guys are probably going to have long birdie chances on those. You're looking at like 20-foot putts for birdies on a lot of those greens. You just want to be getting off them with pars and doing your scoring on the par 5s. There is a bit of water in this, but it only comes into play on one hole. It's against that Kikuyu ryegrass on the fairways and the rough. The rough here is deep this week. It's not quite as deep. They did hold a US Open here. I think, was it 2019, Nick, when Jon Rahm won?
Yeah, I think it was.
So yeah, they did hold a US Open here. It's not going to be that as thick as it was for a US Open. I mean, they set a US Open up to be bloody hard. But you're looking at sort of like 3-inch rough this week. There's been a lot of rain in the area, so all the grass is going to be up around the greens, etc. And the greens here are completely different to what you're going to find on the North. They're POA greens, and POA is a very unpredictable putting surface. It will give the best golfers in the world absolute nightmares. It's it can annoy you very, very easily. I mean, I've seen golfers come off this golf course, some of the best putters in the world, like Tiger Woods, for example. Tiger Woods has won round here, but you know, I've seen him slam his putter into the greens around this place. It's so unpredictable and annoying. It's very straight. The fairways are very they're very slim. There's no real room for error here. It does advise for me. There's an advantage if you're a long driver of the golf ball around this place, because if you're a longer driver of the golf ball, your second shots into the greens, especially on those par fours, are going to be with 7 to sort of 9 irons. And if you're a short driver of the ball, you're going to be using like 5 or 4 irons. And if you're not on the fairway, you do not want to be hitting a 5 or a 4 iron out of this rough. I can tell you that this week. So yeah, the South is the more known of the two golf courses and the harder. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good event. I know I don't really like these course rotation events, but I do like this golf course, Torrey Pines. It's a very well respected golf course compared to what we had last week. That was just horrible last week, them 3 golf courses.
Yeah, I just did a fact check on that then, and John Ram, it was actually 2021 the US Open was played at Torrey Pines. It feels like it was longer ago than that, but 2021, and actually it rings true because I remember watching that during lockdown. So yeah, that is right.
He stole it from DeChambeau, didn't he? DeChambeau was leading, and DeChambeau had a meltdown on one of the holes. Again, it comes into that longer driver. Both Rahm and DeChambeau, we know what DeChambeau is. He's a massive, massive driver of the golf ball, but both of them two can hit the ball long. John Rahm loves this place.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that brings me on to my next point, really, Jack, was around there are certain golfers that notoriously have done quite well at this course. However, it shows its difficulty because there's some golfers that have got really good history here, but then will have a missed cut or 2 missed cuts in the last 5 years. But then the years that they're making the cut might have some really good finishes, either top 10, top 20s. Tony Finau, prime example of that. In the 4 of the last 5 years, he's had 3 top 10s and a top 20. And the most recent year, he goes and misses the cut here.
I remember that because he was chalk last year, absolute chalk last year, and he missed the cut. I remember.
And I think it's probably worth noting that Finau at the start of last season isn't the same Tony Finau we saw towards the end of the season. He something clicked in his game. He really picked his game up pretty much from, I feel like, the Open onwards. I feel like we saw the best of Tony Finau. But how much is the history around this course playing into your player pool, shall we call it, this week?
Well, I'll give you my model if you want first, and then you can sort of
fire away.
Base it off of that, and then as usual, it's big. Everyone knows I like a big golf model, but so I've again that driving distance I've got weighted in my model. It's one of the heaviest weighted into my model. I just think you're at a massive advantage if you can hit the ball long on this place. I've got strokes gained off the tee on long golf courses with narrow fairways. I've got strokes gained on approach, long-term proximity from 150 to 175, long-term proximity from 175 to 200, and long-term proximity for 200 yard plus. I mean, that's the range you're talking this week. The second shots into these greens are going to be long. I've got strokes gained around the green. I've got strokes gained putting on POA because, as I mentioned, the POA surface is difficult to judge. I want good putters on this surface, most definitely this week. I've got putting inside 10 feet. We use, me and Nick, I know, use that quite a lot within our models. I've got strokes gained total on long golf courses, and then some comp courses. I've got Torrey Pines South, which is the harder one. I've got Torrey Pines North, and I've got Riviera. But that's my model this week. It's fairly big as usual, but I am looking into the course history a fair bit as well. Like I say, I'm definitely my heaviest weighted golf course this week is out of the 3 comp courses is the South, the course itself.
Yep. Mark, in recent weeks, you've had a lot of similarities to Jack's model. So is this week a changing of the tide, or are you very similar yet again?
They're pretty similar again, to be perfectly honest. I'm just looking at everything as Jack's saying it. Just then, I'm just ticking off. Yeah, got that one, got that one, that one, that one, that one. Obviously, the main 3 things here, as opposed to say a lot of other courses, was driving distance, which Jack mentioned, the long approaches, and the putting on Poana. So, but other than that, the rest of it's all pretty similar. And I'm doing comp course as well. Doing Torrey Pines South as well. I'm definitely weighting it more because they should be playing it 3 times. So yeah.
Very good, very good. Before we actually move on to looking at some of the players that we've got in the field this week, just a shout out again for Jack's tracker, because I know you put so much time and effort into that. We've still had the launch of that fan team season game that you can also play on Bet365. That has now launched. We're 1 week in. We're still seeing people being added to the tracker group, of which has been lively this past week with the first event happening. Jack, your tracker is still available. People can still buy that tracker. Yeah. It is literally such a small price. It's the price of a pint up north. You won't get a pint for it down south, unfortunately, but you will up north. And I would advise anyone to jump on that tracker. You're 1 week in, give yourself the best chance of setting your lineup going forward weeks in advance. There's some changes to the game this year where it'll be a lot easier for you to make the changes and plan in 2-3 week stints and have the kind of team that you want. But for anyone that does want that tracker, Jack, what do they need to do?
Just hit me up on Twitter. It's the name there, Jack Humphrey DFS. Drop me a DM and it's $3.99. I'll send you the PayPal link, and yeah, $3.99 for it. And like Nick says, you'll get that the whole year. You get all the updates, etc. If any news breaks, if the live players can start playing on the PGA Tour, for example, you'll get all that added into it. So yeah, and you'll get added to the Twitter group where you'll know first about every update that I push on it. So yeah, just don't tell me how you're doing in the first day of golf. Because I don't care.
Too late. On the season long, Nick, on the fan team, there was a question in the fan team Discord, which apparently it's from a Bill Staples on Discord, and he's going to basically pick Higgs or Buckley for his season long based on what we say.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's sure. I think it'll be pretty obvious who it is, because it's not even a contest between the two of them. But we will wait till we get to that price range.
The just with you mentioning Live Golf as well, Jack, the schedule is now out. Are you going to be attending at Centurion Club again this year?
Yeah, I'll probably go again. Why not? It's not too far for me. It's about an hour away. So yeah, yeah, I'll probably attend. I want to attend the Open this year. I don't quite know how that's going to go yet, but I do want to attend the Open. I love Liverpool as a city anyway, so it's it'd be nice to head up for the weekend or something. But I'll see how that goes. But I definitely want to try and get there.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be at one of the practice days for the Open. But if you do head up there, then we shall arrange a little meeting. Talk all things golf. We might even do a live stream for you all. What an absolute treat!
From the pub.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start having a look at some of the golfers that we've got in the field this week. We've got 4 golfers priced over 10k. Jon Rahm coming in at 11,600, which is the highest priced golfer of the season. Probably, arguably, could have been priced even higher. We've got Tony Finau at 10.5, Xander Schauffele at 10.3, and Morikawa at 10. Fellas, surely, I mean, Rampage is brilliant, Jack, and probably should be patented if it isn't already. But surely, we're just going back to Jon Rahm, are we not?
Well, I am. I don't care. I'm just going to play him. He might be 80% owned this week. I still don't think DK put his price high enough this week. I don't care. I'm just going to play him. He's on a mission. He's ticked off as well. He's coming to a place that he absolutely loves. He's won the US Open around here. He's won this event before. He's just, as I say, he's just all around good. He's won twice this year, 3rd last year here, 7th in 2021, 2nd in 2020, 5th in 2019, 29th in 2018, and he won it in 2017 on debut that year when he come around this place. And he's won the US Open around it in harder conditions. I don't care if he's 80% owned. He's going to be in every one of my lineups this week.
I can't argue. Mark, can you make an argument against it this week?
If you're playing one lineup, you have to play him. I think if you're playing multiple, you need to have some lineups without him. I think you've just got to. And obviously, if he's going to be massively owned, then the other guys in the 10Ks should, in theory, be a little bit less owned than it should be. So you just got to try and take advantage of that from the game theory point of view. It's still golf. It's still golf. It's still golf. Also, he's got this pressure of 3 wins in a row thing and everything he'd be going for. It'll be very easy for something to go, like you were talking earlier, Nick, about how players come here and they'll be either they can do very well or miss the cut. And it's because things sort of get away from them and things start to go wrong and stuff. And it's hard to just, one mistake leads to another, etc. And I think that combined with the sort of pressure he potentially feels for this 3 wins in a row thing, the hat trick and all that, there's definitely a very small minor chance that he doesn't do as well as his price. But he'll win.
I think
I can't play him. Have you seen his odds? He's like 4-1. I can't.
It's not worth it. No, not worth the bet.
It's still golf.
Jack, I think I saw a message that you were keeping an eye on Colin Morikawa this week. Now, he's not as long as some of the others that are in this field, but any advance on Colin Morikawa? Are you going there, or a little sprinkling of him maybe?
You've kind of given away my secret now. I'm going to try and jam him in with Rahm in lineups and see what happens. It's going to be a bit mad, but we'll see what happens. He's only ever played this golf course once, this event, and that was in 2020, and he was 21st. Don't hate that at all. He's the number 1 player in this field with most accurate driving. And he may not be the longest off the tee, but as long as he's accurate and he's hitting the fairways, I don't care. I like what I saw from him at the Tournament of Champions. I know he had the meltdown in the last round. I think we'll see a little bit of a bounce back from Morikawa. And I'm going to put it out there. I think he'll be Rahm's closest challenger this week.
I agree. Well, I like what we saw last time out. I think you can. I'm sort of disregarding that last day where his game just sort of abandoned him a little bit, the putting especially. But yeah, I don't mind it because, like you said, it's someone who can drive 315, 320, but doesn't have the accuracy, are going to lose yardage potentially then if you're playing out of the rough. If you're getting someone that is absolutely striping it down the fairway more often than not, then it doesn't matter, like you said, if you're a long driver or if you're slightly shorter, if you're on that fairway and you're putting yourself in a good position. And let's be honest, in terms of ball strikers, he's one of the purest when it comes to it in his irons in this field. So
he's a good player. He's better on power as well, putting. It's one of his better putting surfaces. Yeah, I just wanted to do it quickly. I put him and Rahm into a lineup. It leaves you with 7,100. It's certainly doable because I think you can go down into the 6K range, pick someone up, and then get back up into the high 7s. It's certainly doable, and I will be starting a lot of my builds that way this week. I do honestly think he'll be Rahm's closest challenger this week.
Yeah. Into the 9K range then, and I think I would say Zalatoris is probably going to be the most popular in this range, though it wouldn't surprise me if Justin Thomas is right there with him in terms of popularity. But I've got a feeling Max Homer and Taylor Montgomery are going to garner a lot of ownership this week as well in this 9K range. So, Mark, talk me through your picks here.
Willie Z's second in my model, so I'm definitely interested in him. What I find interesting, though, you talk about Taylor Montgomery. He never ranks out particularly well on these models. But he's just money at the moment, isn't he? You can't just not play him.
Yeah.
And as we said last week, he probably would have finished. He could have finished higher in a safer position rather than going for it than 5th. I think. He just hasn't failed any week really. I mean, 57th is probably his worst, but he still made the cut. So, yeah, I do like him again. got quite a lot of nines in my model doing quite well. Max Homer, fun enough, is the next one, and then Justin Thomas. But yeah, Taylor Montgomery, I give a boost. I kind of add him to my model manually to get him into lineups, to be honest with you. And last week, put him out there as a bet with each ways and stuff. He made a little bit of money.
Yep.
So yeah.
Since September, he's not missed a cut, and within that time, you've got a string of either top 10s or top 20 finishes. Like you said, he's just every week. It feels like you just jam him into your lineup, and it's like until he fails you, almost just keep plugging away. I feel like we were in this position a few years ago with Russell Knox, albeit Taylor Montgomery's a much better golfer than Russell Knox. Certainly with the putter. Jack, this 9K range, who have you got your eye on?
Yeah, I mean, similar to Zalatoris is second in my model. My top three in my model is Rahm, Zalatoris, and Morikawa, for what it's worth. So yeah, I like Zalatoris there. Got good course history around here. Should have won it last year. I don't know how he lost to Luke List in the end, but I mean, he did come second last year. I wouldn't be surprised to see him win this week if he does. He bit disappointing last week though, 36th in the Amex. But I don't know how much you read into like the Amex, because when the score gets to like what it did, I think it's just madness anyway. It's just someone that can get hot with a putter, isn't it? At the end of the day, boys, I know we ride these players till they drop and they're really hot. I'm going to have a bet on Taylor Montgomery to miss the cut. This is the week. I actually, to be fair, before I put that out there, I need to see what golf course he's starting on, because as you both know, I said to you before we come on there, I think there's a wave advantage this week. So I need to see what golf course Taylor Montgomery's starting on. But if he's starting on the one that I think he's starting on, then I'm going to have a bet for him to miss the cut. But we'll see with that. But yeah, I mean, he ranked high within my model. He is in form, and we do like riding these players while they're hot. So yeah, I'm not going to talk anyone off of him. It's just a personal feeling that I think he'll miss the cut this week. Max Homer's 7th within my model. Good course history around here. He did miss the cut last year, unfortunately, but he was 18th in 2021 and 9th in 2020. So we know he can get it done around here. Justin Thomas was an interesting one. I was thinking of going there at some points earlier today, but then I wanted to check the ownership, and he's drawing a lot of ownership. He's actually up to 21% projected ownership at the minute, and that's more than Willie Z. And to be honest, I think I'd rather just play Willie Z over Justin Thomas at the minute. Justin Thomas has fallen off a cliff since like the Open.
Since like the US Open, US Open and the kind of categories that are staples of our models every week, like approach, he's not been good on his approach at all. His putting has been ice cold.
Yeah.
Not what you expect from Justin Thomas, really.
No, I mean, he was 25th at the Century Tournament of the Champions. That's not particularly great. So yeah, if his ownership was down, I might have gone there. Looking at the projected ownership now, I have no interest in Justin Thomas. If he beats me, he beats me. I think he's played here once before, if I'm not mistaken, and that was last year. Yeah, he came 20th, so it was okay, I suppose. But at that ownership, I can't go there. I mean, all these other guys I just prefer around them. Montgomery's 15% owned. I'd go there over him, despite me saying he'd missed the cut, but I think he just offers more upside. Max Homer's at 19.25% ownership, projected ownership, sorry. And then you got Will Zalatoris at 19.66. They're all guys similar to Mark, same reasons. And yeah, I'd just go to them over a lot of these guys around this, like Justin Thomas and that.
Yeah. I have a confession. The plodder, as Jack calls him, Sun JM. I actually plugged him into my season lineup, and mainly because he played the next 3 events. So this will be his second of the 3, and didn't let me down last week. Quite happy with that finish. Quite happy with that. But again, justifying the plodder title that you've given him, Jack. Not really pushing on for a win, but just sort of there and thereabout in the mix, playing golf on the last day. Just plodding on through. Just nice and easy. No risks, no frills, just plodding. And that is Sung Jae. Well, I think we've exhausted the 9K range. I mean, the 8s, there's some names in this range I really like, some names I really don't like. Loot List in this range, last year's winner. Jack, talk me through your 8Ks and who you like in this range.
Well, as I say, the newsletter dropped before we got on the show tonight, but the second of my core plays with John Rahm is Siwoo Kim. Again, another player on a mission. Didn't actually realise how old Siwoo Kim was. He's 28, and by Korean law, I think you have to do military service by the time you're 30. So I think Siwoo Kim is going to play a lot. If you're playing season-long golf, I would certainly get him in into your lineups, because I think he's going to play a lot of golf, sort of trying to accumulate some ranking points before he has to go and do his military service. I think all Koreans have to do that unless they win a gold medal, don't they? Or something like that at the Olympics. Don't they?
Yes. Yeah, I
so,
think so.
And I'm pretty sure they can only represent their country once at an Olympics. I know that's true for golfers, and Siwoo's already done that. So he can't go and play in next year's Olympics, I think, when he'll be 29. So yeah, he can't go and do that. I think he's just on a mission to try and accumulate as many ranking points as he can. He is ranked 6th within my model this week. Good course history around here as well. He was 11th last year. Missed the cut the year before that, but then 29th, 35th. So we know we can get it done around this place. Won at the Sony Open. He was 22nd last week. I don't really hate that at all. Very good accuracy. He's actually second in the field with accurate driving, just behind Morikawa. So yeah, I certainly, again, he's in my core play, my second of my core plays this week, and I'm just going to ride. He's a hot player at the minute, and someone that used to be boom or bust, he's certainly not that anymore.
Yeah, like that pick. Jason Day, I feel like is garnering a lot of attention this week. I know you've mentioned him in the betting, Jack. Is there any interest there from either of you?
I don't see
history certainly there.
Yeah, I don't see how you can bet him at the odds. That was my argument. I just think that's crazy when he's around. I mean, you've got Hideki Matsuyama who's like 33 to 1 on some betting sites, and you've got Jason Day at 20 to 1. I don't get it. I don't see how you can bet him at 20 to 1. He's not that player anymore. Will I have some ownership? Maybe. I don't really know. I'm still a bit undecided. To be honest, if I want to play a veteran, I think I'd probably just go to Justin Rose over him, just because of the ownership I think Jason Day is going to get. And I just don't think either of them would offer. Either of them don't really offer you any upside.
JJ Spawn's a name that we've spoke about quite a bit in recent weeks, and he continues to show up. He's not been letting us down really much. Cameron Davis, disappointing last week, Cameron Davis, but has got the game. Certainly, he's got the length to be a challenger around this kind of course. Mark, this 8K range, talk me through your pick.
I've got 3 in the top 10. You've just named 2 of them. JJ Spawn has just turned into a cut maker, which he definitely wasn't previously. So I think he's nice. If you like to play cut makers, he's a good choice. Matt McNeely is a fantastic putter on power. So yeah, he's another one. If you're just looking for something to stick out, that's something there. Yeah, that's really my main interest in the 8s. Now, Hayden Buckley is in the 8K range. So probably only need a one-word answer to this. Buckley or Higgs in a season long?
Yeah, it's Buckley for me.
It's Buckley by a long way.
Yeah.
By a long, long way. I don't even know why that was a question. But there you go. We've answered it now. It's not even close, is it? Buckley's actually in my top 20 in my model as well. So
Yeah, I'm just looking where he is in mine. Actually, yeah, he's 22nd in mine. So yeah, he's not too far out. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to look where Higgs is because
No, I can't even find Higgs. I'm
there's
scrolling
no
and
point.
scrolling.
Yeah, you just start
Yeah.
Buckley.
So Bill Staples, there you go. There's the answer. We like to serve.
Yeah, Buckley for me as well.
Yeah.
The 7K range busts a lot of names, so rather than going through them all, Mark, if you can just talk me through the ones that are catching your eye, I'll get the same from yourself, Jack, and we'll see if there's any little diamonds in the rough in the 6K range.
Well, the 7K range is easily my favourite range in this.
It is packed.
It's absolutely fantastic. So my 3, 4, and 5 are all from the 7Ks in my model. Nick Hardy, Wyndham Clark, and Will Gordon. I'd add Ben Griffin into there as well, another cut maker. Thomas Dettry's in there.
Thomas Detry. Oh my God, what is that pricing?
I know, it's ridiculous.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
What is that?
Has
And
he got any
Oh
cool
my
history
God.
around him?
just
No, he's never played it.
yeah. So
That's a worry.
he's played in way more yeah. I don't think it's an issue. I think he's almost a guarantee cut maker. I know there's a guy I think Jack's going to mention, so I won't mention him.
Bobby Shelton.
Yeah, but I think you can just load up on these, and actually realizing that the players I like are at the lower end. Jack's 2 high priced players like Rahman, Morikawa seem even more viable, to be honest with you.
Oh, now everyone's going to do it. Thanks.
Yeah,
Mark.
I'm doing it in the pod in the host league, Jack. It's what I'm doing.
Will Gordon, you mentioned, Mark, he'd gone on a string of making cuts and missed the cut last week at the American Express. But that event itself, high scoring, and the cut came after the third day. I'm not really taking too much from that.
No.
I still like that pick. Jack, your 7Ks.
Well, do you want I'll give you the last of the core 3, shall I? Which is Robbie Shelton, as Mark has mentioned there. The guy's just done a bit of a tear up of it. He done really well last week at the American Express, comes 6th. I know Tom's a massive fan of his as well. He's actually got course history here as well, which I was surprised at because he's played a lot. He's like a bit of a Corn Ferry graduate. He comes 16th here in 2021 and 36th in 2020. So all good signs there. He ranks, let me just get the model up. He ranks 28th, sorry, in my model he is. So yeah, I don't he's not flashing, but I mean when he's at that price and he's 28th in the model, that's it's good signs for me. So yeah, I like him this week. I like the fact that he's got some course history around here and he seems to be coming into his own finally and sort of settling down on the PGA Tour. So yeah, I'm happy to chuck him in. I'll give you a couple of the other guys. That just Patrick Rogers was standing out in the model. He's like 15th within my model for some reason. Doesn't really have great course history. He's missed a ton of cuts, but he does have a 9th in 2020, which was a little bit interesting. Again,
he likes
I like
power as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he likes power. So again, someone to look at. Will Gordon, like Mark said, it's absolutely. He's another player who's been playing really well as of late. I actually quite like Sebastian Munoz. Munoz is going to start on the North course, which is the easier of the two. Big driver, Munoz, very accurate as well. So I think this course will suit him. I don't actually. Let me just grab his course history up. So he's one missed cut and he was 39th last year. So yeah, the sort of back end results, but I don't mind Munoz around here. Good driver of the ball, like I say. Gary Woodland's another one that interests me. Former US Open winner. He is the definition of boom or bust. He'll either be top 10 or he'll just kill your lineup. Just don't watch. Is my advice to Gary Woodland. But good course history around here. 39th last year, 48th the year before. Missed a cut in 2020, but before that he was 9th in 2019 and 12th in 2018. I've actually talked him up in a bet, so he was 66 to 1 and a former US Open winner. I'm quite happy to jump on that. So yeah, there's a few guys I like around there. I mean, Dietrich's playing well, like you guys say. I just don't think I can play someone that's got no course history around this place. I think course history is quite important around here.
I'm curious as to, because his name hasn't been mentioned, but where does Ben Taylor rank in your models? Because he has been playing some good golf in recent weeks. Albeit missed the cut last week at the Amex.
Just before you go on to him, I don't think I'm going to play this player, but Ryan Palmer is drawing a lot of ownership, but for good reason. I mean, 16th last year, 2nd in 2021, 21st in 2020, 13th in 2019, and 2nd in 2018. I mean, that is some good course history around history. Yeah. I don't think I'm probably like going to get there just because of the ownership. I just eat the chalk at top, like what I done at the Century Tournament of the Champions. I'm just going to eat the chalk at the top, and then get different in this 7K range.
Yeah, I do like that pick. I think that kind of course history you can't ignore at the price, but yeah, like you said, the ownership is the other thing on that to consider. Going back to Ben Taylor, where is he in your models, guys? I'm just curious.
He's 40th in mine.
Okay.
So didn't stand out.
He is 48th in mine.
Wow. Okay.
It's not standing out, Nick.
No, I mentioned his name because I picked him again in the season team last week, and he was in some of my lineups last week. He didn't make the cut, but in terms so his approach play recently has been really good. His ball striking really good. He's gained a lot of strokes there. He's not been too bad with the putter, if not a little bit inconsistent with it.
That's what lets him down in my model is his putting.
His
and
putting.
on power. Yeah, because the other stuff isn't too bad.
Not too bad. Yeah.
Nah, not too bad.
Interesting.
He's 30th in somebody's lineup, so in somebody's model.
30th in yours, scoped. It's a big field, so I'll take that. Any diamonds in the rough then in that 6K range? Because if we're going to go top heavy on some lineups, which no doubt that we will be doing, we're going to have to get a little bit different and delve probably into that 6K range. So is there anyone down there before we start constructing these lineups?
Kevin Yu for me at
Yes.
6'9".
Yes, Mark.
He's just birdies or bogeys, isn't he?
Yeah.
Just so he outscores his fantasy position basically. So if he gets through the cut, he's going to get you a lot of points for a good price.
Yeah. Yeah, Kevin Yu. I had quite a bit of Kevin Yu last week in my lineups. And he, again, it missed the cut, but wasn't awful for the time that he played golf. He scored reasonably well, like you said, because the once he gets on a bit of a string of birdies, he's a lot of circles on the card, which you like to see. Jack?
I mean, there's a few diamonds in the rough down there you can use. Kevin Streelman's one decent enough course history around this place. Do worry that he's had a lot of missed cuts recently. I actually quite like Cole Hammer, who's had a decent sort of full swing. Started off the season at Sony this year. Just made the cut, got through the cut mark. So yeah, I like the sort of recent form. Only problem with Cole Hammer, there's no course history around this place, which is a little bit of a worry. Kevin Tway's another one. Again, good course history around here. Has made the cut 4 or 5 times that he's been here. Made the cut in the last 2 events that he's played. I mean, none of these guys are going to start standing out, jumping out in the model for you this week. But I mean, there's just a few guys, diamonds in the rough, as you like to say, Nick, down there.
Yeah.
That I wouldn't mind taking a little punt on.
Yeah. Let's start building some of these lineups then and seeing what we can make out of them. I think we'll start with a Jon Rahm lineup, and I'm interested to see where. I think let's see where we go with either a Morikawa or a Zalatoris build in that as well. I know Morikawa you really like this week, Jack.
Let's do the
Zalatoris you both
Zalatoris
like.
one. Yeah, let's
So
do
we'll
the
throw
Zalatoris.
Zalatoris in, which means we've got to get a little bit cheaper. So if we come down a little bit, and then we can start working our way back up. I like your shout on Kevin Newmark. Though throwing him in doesn't free up a huge amount. So we either go a little bit cheaper and start working our way back up the ladder, or we stay down this range.
How about sticking in Kevin Tway, just sort of hoping he makes the cut?
6-6. That frees up a little bit. So we're sort of working in the kind of direction that we want again.
If you stick in Kevin Yu, then that'll leave you with 7-6.
7-6, which we're not in too bad of a range. Then you could throw in, go really boom or bust, like you said, and throw in. We've got Will Gordon there, so I think that's an automatic inclusion. And then we can go right up to Harris English, which
No,
I'd rather come down. Maybe go to Detry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my lineup for the host league. Basically done, Nick. Thanks.
Yeah, there you go.
Because that fits in with most of my model.
Job done. Show done. I think if we just all enter that lineup this week, then we'll just chalk this week off as a draw across the board. I want to maybe look at a bit of a balanced kind of build now as well. And just to point out in that, you're only an extra $100 away from if you did want to go Morikawa over Zalatoris, which you could quite easily make that up from one of these guys here, definitely.
To be honest, I think I'd take out Kevin Yu in that, and I've got a thing for Cameron Champ, so I think I would just play Cameron Champ just because he's a massive driver to go for.
I was just going to say, if
Absolutely
nothing
massive.
more, he hits it an absolute mile. So yeah,
it might go out of bounds, but he hits it an absolute mile.
Yeah. Do you know who's in the field this week, Jack? I've just seen his name.
Oh God, go on.
Camilo.
Yeah, he's in the field this week. Yep.
Camilo is back, as is Bill Haas. Bill Haas is back in the field this week. Not bad course history from Bill Haas, I don't think.
Camilo's been doing all right. He's like recent form, apart from the RSM. He decent bit of form before that.
Let's throw together something that looks a little bit more balanced. If we are going balanced, are we still starting it off with John Ram, do you reckon?
No, I think you start with Homer.
Okay.
And Zalatoris, personally.
Throw Homer in, throw Willie Z in.
Yeah, that's much nicer. I reckon you can come down to the low 7s then with that, and then get back up into the 8s.
To be fair, you could still throw in Will Gordon and another 7, and you are back in the 8s. Munoz, Woodland.
Or you could. What about Shelton?
Shelton, throw Robbie Shelton in at 7-2. That frees up 8-3. So we're making our way back up.
Loot list. No, don't.
What does Siwoo leave
just
us
come
with?
down to Dietrich again, and then that would take you right up to 9, and it get you to Siwoo Kim.
Yeah, I like that. $100 left. That's a really balanced lineup.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
Shelton's actually garnering some ownership now, looking at it as well.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think, in fairness, we could probably build lineups all night with this. One last lineup I want to try is see where we can get if we throw in Tony Finau and John Ram, which I know is going to be a tough build.
God, that takes you to a really dark place.
Yeah, but I like dark places, so let's go there. And
stick Camilo in.
Let's come. Camilo at 6-3. Oh, that is dark.
To be fair, I don't hate it because Camilo, would probably just make the cut or something. I'm going to see what his course history is. What is he? 6-3.
6-3.
If you want another one down there, Eric Barnes. He's popping in my model weirdly.
Oh, Camillo has never played this place before. Eric Barnes.
Yeah.
Oh no,
6-3.
Camillo has played this place before. He's missed the cut every time he's come.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I know. He's missed the cut almost every time he's played in the last 5 years as well, or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, for some reason he pops in models.
Mount
Throw in-
Narty was 25th here last year, 6,300.
Well, if you want to get cheap and we're looking at course history, Bill Haas makes the cut almost every year that he's here. 6-1. Bill Haas 6-1.
God.
Let's take Camillo out. Let's come down. Who was the guy that you said, Mark? Then
6 Eric Barnes, but I wouldn't play him. It's ridiculous. I have no idea how he's ended up so high in the model.
Mark's going to have him in every lineup.
No, I'm not. I'm really not. But now you watch, he'll make the cut and he'll be in the Millie Maker or something.
Brian Stewart's got good course history here.
let's throw in Stewart then,
Okay.
and that lets us come up a little bit. So if we go back up, our low sevens. This is a tough build. It's doable, but I think we've got to stay in the sixes for the time being. Or if we throw
We've got a
in,
question, by the way. Oh, just totally lost Mark.
throw in Streelman.
We'll answer that in a minute. Let's just finish this build and we'll answer that in a minute.
Where did you just disappear then, Mark? Did you just
No, behind the question.
Well, I can get rid of them again if you want, Nick. There you go.
Oh yeah, there we go. Lost admin and just can't be seen on the stream anymore, all in one night.
You guys aren't making it subtle.
That's right. You have admin back next week, Mark, when he's when he's gone again.
When I'm
disappears for the
absent.
week.
Yeah.
Whilst you two are deleting Mark off the screen, I've thrown in Streelman, Champ, Dietrich, and I feel like that's probably as good.
That's horrible.
That lineup feels like it's going to get like one person through the cut.
Yeah, but I think if you're going top heavy, like that, something like that's probably as good as you're going to get, unless you get really cheap with 3 to get yourself back up into the low 8s. But you've got to go really cheap. You can't build that lineup unless you go cheap.
I like the Haskell for those sorts of lineups. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could come down with Streelman if you're getting that cheap. You could come down, throw in Haas. You're not too bothered if he doesn't make the cut then at that price, and that's letting you go. I mean, you're back up at 7-9.
Yeah.
So you can either get rid of Detry. I mean, doesn't
you've got Griffin or Gordon and stuff, and then you can go up to the 8s.
Yeah.
But you still need a couple of 6s.
If you play my core this week, by the way, you're left with 7,400 per player.
That's not bad.
That's better.
That's not bad. That's doable. That's doable. You said that we've got a question. So now that we've finished messing around with lineups, who do you guys prefer to bench between Hadwin, Cam Davis, or Shelton for season long? Currently benching Shelton, but see a lot of praise for him from you guys and some of the guys on Twitter. Ooh. If I was benching one of them.
That's tricky actually. Because model wise, it would be Shelton for me, but I don't know. I can't get excited about Hadwin this week. But...
Yeah, I'm swaying towards Hadwin. Yeah, I would say Hadwin. But then Hadwin's going to be, of those 3 players, there's only Cam Davis that's going to be priced. Shelton's going to be by far your cheapest. So then I guess, who would your underdog be, would be my question.
Yeah, that's the thing. Who's your underdog?
That could play into it, because if you throw in Shelton, automatically he's your underdog. But if you can shoehorn other players in, Hadwin in that kind of lineup would probably be your underdog, I guess. But
Hadwin has been playing well. I've just gone on to it. He has been playing well. Did miss the cut here last year though. Who else was it? Cameron Davis missed cut last week. Relatively good course history. Yeah, I think it comes down to that. Whoever your underdog is, like Nick says, if Shelton becomes your underdog, then I think you probably just bench Shelton because he's the lowest price out of the lot. And I don't know. I'm torn. I love Cameron Davis as a golfer, but I'm torn on him right now. I think I need to see something from him this week. Otherwise, I'm out on the Cameron Davis train. I don't think he's the golfer that we all think he is. If I don't see it this week.
Interesting.
No,
Any love for Charlie Hoffman, ninth in my model, mainly due to driving distance? No, he
No.
wasn't really anywhere in mine.
He's 44th
Not-
in mine, so not massive.
As
I
for
mean, yeah.
Griffin, so Griffin
Lanto.
is your Lanto Griffin's your underdog.
There's two Griffins now. You got Ben Griffin or
There's Ben
Lanto.
Griffin. Ben Griffin's good. He's a cut maker, isn't he? Again, another one.
Yeah,
Another one
Lanto's
that
just
make
coming
this.
back off the Corn Ferry. He was playing on the Corn
Mm.
Ferry tour last week.
I would probably play Hadwin and Davis then, personally, but I don't think.
Yeah.
I honestly think that's close between them three. I think whoever you bench, you're going to be disappointed with it come the end of the week.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Ben
Yeah,
Griffin.
it's Ben. It's Ben. Yeah, I like Ben Griffin.
I think that could be one of them where you could honestly pick any of the three, but it could bite you, whoever you pick. So just go with your gut. I don't think any of them are bad starters this week. We've
Yeah.
mentioned them as Shelton and Davis we've mentioned in lineups. Hadwin we've not spoke about that much, but like you said, Jackie's played some good golf recently, so any of them, toss a coin. That's the best advice you're going to get from your golf experts this week is toss a coin.
Or
And
Ben
see how it
Shelton.
goes. Or Ben Shelton.
I would bench Cameron Davis.
Ooh.
Two
I
for
don't-
Shelton, one for Davis. There we
I
go.
don't think Cameron Davis is the golfer we all think he is.
So there's two on the Shelton, one on Davis. So what you should do is bench
Yeah.
Hadwin
Win,
and
yeah.
play the other two and roll with that. That's
Yeah.
if ever there was a sign, that is it. Fellas, where can the listeners find you?
Well, you can find me on the Twitter at Jack Humphrey DFS. Dad's looking at me now like he's going to tell me off. Jack Humphrey DFS.
Twitter sphere.
You can find us on the Twitter at the PFD show. And our Substack newsletter just dropped as well. So go and sign up to that, completely free. Yeah, all good fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Good stuff.
Right.
Mark?
I'm getting paid every time Jack says the Twitter. So I don't mind if he says it, Copyright me. Just find me _SMRF. And sometimes in Discord, Fan Team Discord as well. And yeah.
No,
It's
go
done.
on, Mark.
Sorry, I was going to say I'm politer than Jack if you message me randomly.
I'm very polite. Just don't tell me how you're doing on like the
No,
first
absolutely.
tee of golf, because I will tell you to begins with an F and then it ends with off. So don't tell me how you're doing there. Also, guys, just go and give us a follow on Twitter and the like this video, etc. It really helps us out. I'm going to try and tap up DraftKings over the next coming days because I'm going to try and get us something for the Phoenix Open to give away.
Ooh.
So I'm going to try and tap up DraftKings, see what we can do. Even if it's even we can get like a boosted listener league or something like that, I'll try and do something. The listener league is in the description of this podcast, so head on over to that. $3 entry, top 3 win, single entry, so you're not coming up against all the sharks in that either. So yeah, good fun. And we're all in it, so we're just donating money each week in it as well. So yeah, good fun.
Yeah.
Come and join us.
If you manage to successfully tap up DraftKings there, Jack, I will hold my hands up. I will retract all my comments about DraftKings having flags for players that I've mentioned on previous shows. I'll take it all back. You're doing a great job, DraftKings.
Well,
Absolutely.
Listener league is broken apparently. I'll put another one on the Twitter handle. Scoped. Sorry.
And you can find me at Nick of Wigan. Pleased to see that you signed the show off in the correct way last week, fellas. But I think this week, we'll flip it round, put in for show, because this week it's absolutely the drivers for the door. And we will see you next Tuesday.
Cheers, guys.